Sue felt very uneasy listening to her mother and everyone talking with such enthusiasm, as if they already thought that she was the perfect match for Alex. She felt that if she didn't confess now, it would get more and more complicated until the situation became uncontrollable. What? Sue's words shocked Sarah and everyone in the room, demolishing the joy they had been feeling up to that moment. Sarah smiled awkwardly and said, "Sue, you're talking nonsense. Please don't joke with me." "Sue is making fun of us," Jack said. "Sue, you have to listen to Mr. Ambrose from now on," Claire piped in. She could feel her heart thumping. Sue stole a glance at Alex and saw that his face was calm. After meeting her gaze, she was a little dazed before he moved away. She did not want to admit it because it would shatter the sliver of hope in her fantasy. But her heart also gradually calmed down. "Mr. Ambrose and I are not a couple," she repeated as she looked at her mother, Claire, and Jack. She was neither happy nor sad, only a little disappointed. "You're not really a couple?" Sarah and the rest finally realized that she was not joking. They panicked. "Sue, how can it be that you and Mr. Ambrose are not dating? You are so protective of him." "Mom, like I said, we're not a couple. I asked Alex to pretend to be my boyfriend because I didn't want you to introduce me to another guy. We only met yesterday. I have nothing to do with him, so you don't need to go around in circles about it," Sue said with a frown. Her words made Sarah and her family speechless. They looked at Alex. Sue also glanced at him. He was sitting on the sofa and seemed a little anxious with everyone staring at him. Sue's heart sank, and her family's hearts turned cold. Only Rose, who was sitting at the side, secretly looked at Alex with a glimmer in her eyes. "Since this is Mr. Ambrose's villa, we can't stay here any longer. Let's go," Sue said as she accepted the reality. "No, you guys will like to stay and eat, right?" Since the air had finally been cleared, Alex no longer disliked Sarah. "No, thank you, Mr. Ambrose. Let's go." Sarah was no longer in the mood to stay. She nodded to Alex and led the others to the door. They also saw that Alex was trying his best to remain calm. Alex shook his head and walked back into the villa after watching Sue and her family disappear into the horizon. He lifted the broken vase, swept up the shreds of Gary's clothes, and tossed the live chicken into the kitchen. He collected the blades from the floor and threw them away. After cleaning up the mess, he sat down on the sofa. The bracelet that Rose had found was still lying on the table. The door to the villa opened and Grandma walked in. She sauntered into the living room and threw something at Alex. He caught it with his hand and saw that it was a wrapped chicken sandwich. He couldn't recall if he had given her money. "What are you staring at me for? Eat!" Grandma looked at him with a puzzled expression. "Okay," Alex nodded. He did feel hungry, so he put the bracelet down on the table and started to eat the chicken sandwich. "Huh? What are you doing with that bracelet?" Grandma looked at the woven band and became interested in it. She walked up to the table, picked it up, and started to play with it. "Oh." Alex paused as he took big bites out of his sandwich. He was really hungry. "I went to the night market the other day and a seller gave me 2 bracelets. She said that as long as 2 lovers wore them, they could always feel the presence of the other, no matter how far apart they were. Now that I think about it, I'm so stupid. How can there be such a thing?" He smiled as he chewed. Hearing Alex's words, Grandma laughed softly and said, "She was just a normal person. How else would she know how to deceive you guys?" Alex carefully mulled over her words. His nibbling slowed down until he finally asked, "Grandma, do you know what this love bracelet thing is all about?" The grandma snorted lightly but disdainfully answered his question. She spread out her right hand and let the bracelet lie on her palm. She closed her eyes as she held it, and the corner of her mouth moved slightly as if she mumbled something. "Stinky brat, come over here." Grandma said to him as she opened her eyes. He came up to her with the sandwich in his hand. Seeing his confused look, she muttered, "You only know how to eat, don't you?" "Oh," he was speechless, holding the sandwich. "Which wrist would you wear a bracelet on?" she asked. "The left one," Alex answered casually, and then hesitantly asked, "Grandma, will you explain this to me?" "Don't speak nonsense," she cursed. She grabbed his left hand and roughly slid the bracelet over his wrist. "Ouch!" he cried out in pain. When she let go of him, she looked at his arm and saw the bracelet on his wrist. "Grandma, is the bracelet working?" he asked curiously. "Do you need to ask so many questions?" said the old grandma with dissatisfaction. Alex was embarrassed, but he dared to ask, "What is it about the bracelet? Will you teach me how to use it? Hey, Grandma, what are you doing?" Alex saw that she had untied an end of the woven bracelet and wrapped a thread around her left thumb. The seller had said that this was for lovers, so how could they wear it together? "If you say any more nonsense, I'll shoot you," she muttered. Alex closed his mouth. He watched Grandma wrap the thread a little more around her fingers. She looked at the thread, adjusted it, and said to Alex, "You all have cell phones. I don't have these things, so I'll contact you." Alex was speechless and confused. "Are you buying a phone?" he thought. Grandma adjusted the thread on her fingers, and Alex stretched out his hand. She moved her thumb and index finger, and Alex moved his left index finger as well, as if there was a connection between their fingers. "Hey, her fingers are moving at the same time." He excitedly moved his finger a few times, and her fingers also moved. He felt that it was magical. "If you move again, I'll chop off your hand." After she said this, Alex kept still. She continued, "From now on, I can only call you. You can't call me. Do you understand?" "I understand." Alex was a bit dissatisfied that he couldn't initiate this magical power. "Aren't you being too unfair?" he thought. However, thinking about the situation more, he didn't have anything to call her about anyway, so he felt a bit better. She looked at the thread in her hand, but she didn't seem very satisfied. She took something out of her pocket and slowly put it on the thumb of her right hand. When she put her hand down, Alex saw that she had put on a ring that was clear and green, with a trace of light flowing through it. He wanted to take a closer look, but Grandma pulled her hand away. "I'm done," she said. "Yes, it's about time," he agreed. "Come with me." After saying this, she walked into the kitchen. Alex followed her. Her eyes were already fixated on the live chicken. Alex thought that she may be ready to suck blood again, so he said something and got ready to leave. "Halt!" she shouted. "What's the matter, Grandma?" he asked in confusion. "From now on, I need you to do something for me. It's best if you don't get beaten to death by the others. You don't have to tell me how rich you are, but it's hard to predict the future, so you must rely on yourself for everything. Do you understand?" She stared at Alex. "I think I understand." He didn't know what to say now, but her words made some sense. "Because you saved my life, I'll just teach you a few moves," she said. "Granny, you want to teach me a few moves?" Although he didn't have a competitive spirit, he was very willing to learn a few moves to protect himself. He had already witnessed her powers. Even if he could learn just a couple of moves, it would help him feel not so useless. "Watch carefully," she snorted and stopped looking at Alex. Her gaze was fixed on the chicken on the ground. He watched her attentively. She raised her hand and a light flashed with a windy sound. The chicken let out a blood-curdling screech, and it fell flat on the ground. Its wings and claws had been tied up. "You try it." She handed him a blade. "Grandma, should we kill it first before trying this?" he asked. He could not bear it, so he picked up a kitchen knife and moved to put the chicken out of its misery. The old woman did not allow it. "Right, you'll throw badly, won't you? Practice throwing the blade at the wood chopping board first until he can kill the chicken swiftly." "Ah, yes." He knew her personality, so he didn't dare say anything more. He just wanted to finish the training as soon as possible. She taught him how to hold the blade and all the key points that he should pay attention to. He diligently practiced, but when he fired the blades at the chopping board, he could not achieve the same effect as her. He threw dozens of blades at the wood chopping board. "I won't teach you any more moves, you're not good," she scolded him in a flustered manner. "Grandma, I'll do it again. I'm getting some feeling for it now," he said. He recited the words she had taught him and raised his hand steadily. The blade flew and stabbed the chopping board solidly in its center. "Grandma, I did it," Alex said in excitement as he walked toward the blade sticking in the wooden chopping board. Swoosh! Another blade flew quickly at the chicken's neck, and it died in an instant. He turned around and saw Grandma walk out of the kitchen. She said leisurely, "I'm going to my room. Bring me back another live chicken." He sighed, tidied up the mess in the kitchen, and left to buy her another live chicken. Over the next 2 days, Alex studied the information that Robert Miller had sent him about Lawrence Heights. He then used his status as a university student to probe the management about the building and carry out private interviews to investigate its overall situation. He believed that the building's situation was not very good, but it was not bad either. He thought that Lawrence Heights could still be a very high-quality asset, but only after some proper management changes. Alex summarized the areas that needed to be fixed and outlined his personal experiences there. And then he communicated with the main manager, Bob Brooke. He told the manager that he had a time limit to make the changes he requested, otherwise he would remove him from his position. Bob quickly agreed to Alex's instructions. Although he didn't know Alex's true identity, he was, after all, the new boss who had taken over the $125 million Lawrence Heights building. Alex also specifically asked Bob to investigate if Philip Geller, the office manager in charge of rentals, had seen his message. Alex would not let him off lightly for ignoring him. Bob agreed and promised him that he would investigate Manager Geller properly. Alex wasn't afraid of being fooled by Bob. If he dared to shield Geller, he would have Sam Woodsworth, Ken Stokes, and Graham Sterling to help him. For Alex, uncovering the truth of the matter was as easy as making a phone call. Of course, if he were forced to investigate personally, Bob's position would be lost. The day after Alex handed him the task, Bob called him. "Mr. Ambrose, I've already investigated it thoroughly. There is indeed a big problem with Philip Geller. He's gotten involved with many female employees in the company through deceit, intimidation, and drunkenness. Many of these female employees have already left. In the past 2 years, he's also taken advantage of his position with the female tenants in the building. Since Bob was able to obtain so much information about Philip's crimes in just 1 day, he must have known about the manager's private affairs." Although Alex saw through it, he didn't intend to pursue Bob. As long as he remained helpful in the future, Alex was willing to close his eyes. "All right, I understand. I'll deal with it as I should. I'll try not to affect the reputation of the building. I'll give the evidence of my possession to the police right now and have him arrested. Don't worry, it won't have any negative impact on the building." With that, Alex hung up the phone. Alex put down his cell phone. He sat beside Ramsey Lake and looked at the sparkling water on the surface. He was once again filled with worry. He had been busy with matters related to Lawrence Heights for the past 2 days, but he had also closely observed the progress in trying to find Debbie. He had developed the habit of listening to reports from Ken every night. For example, Ken had sent people to Debbie's hometown to check where she used to work, along with the places she used to visit. They had searched through a couple hundred cities by then, and it was hard to believe that they could not find her anywhere. Alex closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He told himself that he would be reunited with Debbie in a short time. "Alex, let's go." Ben and Carl walked over to Alex's side and lightly patted him on the shoulder. A few days ago, the classes at Preston University had finished for the summer, so the two friends were going back to their hometown that day. All right, let's go. I'll be happy to take you two to the train station. Alex adjusted his mood, stood up and patted his two friends on the shoulders. Are you really going to work here alone in New York? You're going to suffer. Oh yeah, why isn't Debbie here? We're all about to leave, so why isn't she coming to send us off? Ben teased. Last time when Alex and Slayer had killed Henry, Corey and their underlings, Alex had tricked them into believing that he had found a mysterious person to help him get through it. Ben and Carl were suspicious, but the situation was still good. Alex never told them about Debbie's disappearance. You guys talk too much. Let's get going. Although Alex was smiling, his eyes still flashed with sadness. He chatted with Ben and Carl and walked toward the gate. You two should think about some important things in life. You're still single after 2 years in university. Are you looking down on us? Said one of his friends. There were many couples carrying suitcases while walking under the shade trees along the university's road. The men were pulling suitcases for the women, and the women were saying sweet things to the men. Listening to their sweet words, Alex's heart was heavy. If Debbie were still here, wouldn't I be pulling her luggage? He thought. He pushed Ben and Carl into a taxi and rushed them to the high-speed train station. After sending his friends off, Alex finally walked out of the station. He called a taxi and headed toward Lawrence Heights. He wanted to go to the building and find answers to another question, and he also wanted to see that upright and strong woman, Sue. He didn't know if her mother still approved of him after they had left the villa. It had only been a few days, but the condition of the building had improved quite a bit. At least the people at the reception were not playing around during work hours. When they saw him walk in, they politely asked, "Hello, sir. May I ask if there's anything I can help you with?" Alex leisurely wandered around the building for a while, and then he walked toward the room he had rented. When he was almost at the door, he became a little nervous. Thinking about Sue's face, he could not help but feel a little bit softer. He opened the door. Sue was not inside, so he looked around and found the room neat and clean. There was not even a speck of dust on the windowsill. It was much cleaner than when he had given it to her. She's a good girl, Alex thought. He was lost in thought, but a sound coming through the windows of something breaking startled him. He looked up. Bang, bang, crash. Knock, knock. Sounds were coming from the ceiling. What are they doing up there? He wondered. If I'm in 1403, this noise would be coming from room 1503, he muttered. This was not good, as the noise was coming from the first room that he had chosen that day. He had given it to a young woman, Lindsay Marvel, who had walked into the building after him. Thinking of Manager Geller, Alex ran out the door. In room 1503, a young woman had her hands tied with a rope, and her mouth was covered with tape. She leaned against the desk and wanted to run, but she could not get away. The woman looked at Manager Geller in fear. Lindsay, don't be afraid. I'll love you gently. Come into my arms and let me hold you. Philip's eyes sparkled as he looked at her. He had originally planned to wait until the time was right before he went after Lindsay. Now that I've taken my medicine, I'll be super strong. He approached the young woman with blurred gaze. You're the prettiest and youngest of my targets, my darling. He pounced on her. She was so scared that her heart felt like it was going to fly out of her body. She kicked his legs and quickly dodged him. She continued staring at him in fear. He stood up while holding onto his leg and looked at her in pain and fury. Don't do this to me, okay? Why is everyone doing this to me? He looked excited. You're from the city, right? You're rich, right? He spoke to her softly. I can tell you that I came from the countryside, from the poorest and dirtiest part of the countryside. He paused and slowly carried on. My dad abandoned my mom and ran away when I was young. When I was 6 years old, my mom had gone too. I grew up eating scraps. Otherwise, I would have starved to death. Philip continued reflecting on his difficult past. When I was 14 years old, I used the little money that I had to take the train for a day and a night to New York. When I arrived, I could only find low-paying jobs. So that's what I did every day. I wanted to find a nice girlfriend too, but the women just laughed at me. They mocked me and ridiculed me. They were really mean to me. He looked at her intently. When I was 22, I decided that all women would only ever look down on me. So I decided to target rich, young, and pretty women. Don't blame me. You can blame those females who had hurt me before. The more he spoke, the more unhappy experiences of his past made him believe that these women were able to heal the wounds in his heart. Come, let me have a good time, and I'll let you go, he said as he walked toward her. The girl banged hard at the door, but the door was locked. It was impossible. She was in tears, desperate to get out. Bang! Suddenly the door broke open. Are you okay? Alex asked her as he rushed in. Please help me, the girl cried as she threw herself into Alex's arms. He noticed Philip standing behind him. Suddenly, a group of police officers rushed in. Mr. Ambrose, you're here too. Are you okay? It was Sam Woodsworth who had brought the police. He rushed in with them. I'm okay, Alex replied, shaking his head. Sam was relieved. Officer, this man is Philip Guller. You must arrest him right now, Sam said to the police. The police handcuffed Philip. Wow, said Sam in shock when he saw what Alex had done to him. The other officer led Philip out. Shall I go with you? Alex asked. No, Mr. Ambrose, I'm sure you're busy. I'll go with them, Sam said with a reassuring smile. Then he left with the police. Are you okay? Alex asked the girl as he sat down next to her. Yes, I'm all right, she sobbed. She had calmed down a little, but with Alex's kindness, she started crying again. She threw herself into his arms and hugged him, whimpering. I'm sorry, but if it wasn't for you, thank you for everything. Thank you. Alex was suddenly hugged by a beautiful woman who was 2 or 3 years younger than him. She seemed very upset, so he hugged her back. After crying in his arms for half an hour, the girl finally calmed down. As she slowly let go of him, he could feel that his chest was wet with her tears. I'm sorry, she said timidly. Her eyes were red from crying. It's okay. You've left a free map on my t-shirt. Look, this is America. Alex pointed to the imprint on his chest that was wet from her tears. She was amused, and she smiled. I hope that you can get over this okay, Alex said. He was turned about her. She looked so young and vulnerable. Well, I'll try my best to forget what happened today, the girl replied with a nod. She looked at Alex and suddenly felt uneasy. She asked in a whisper, What's your name? My name is Alex, he replied with a smile. Alex, she murmured twice under her breath. Her red eyes fixated on his as she said, My name's Lindsay Marvel. Lindsay Marvel, he repeated with a smile. Your surname is quite rare. It's a lovely name. Thank you. Lindsay felt a little happier as she asked, Can you help me pack up my things? Why, are you moving out? Alex asked in surprise. Well, I'm too afraid to live here now. I'm going to find somewhere else to rent. She knew that she wouldn't be able to get the thought of Philip out of her head as long as she stayed in the apartment. Okay, of course. I'll help you clean up. Alex nodded. He could understand why Lindsay felt too scared to live there. It made him feel very uneasy because he did own the place now, so he quickly helped her to pack her things. He helped her to check out, and they walked out of the Lawrence Heights together. As they walked along the street, Alex asked her where she was going. She had no answer. She only said that she was going to walk around the city alone, with no plan at all. He wanted to help her, but couldn't think of what to do for the best. When a cab pulled up in front of her, Lindsay said, "Okay, I have to go." "Okay, take care," he replied simply. Lindsay suddenly felt a sense of loss at the thought that she would never see him again. He looked at her in surprise, a puzzled expression on his face. To his amazement, she didn't blush or look at all embarrassed, just a little sad. "I hope that we meet again in the future," she said. Alex looked at her but didn't say anything. She nodded slightly, got into the cab, and drove away. "Maybe we'll meet again," Alex murmured and walked back to Lawrence Heights. Later that evening, Sue was walking out of an office block following another unsuccessful interview. She had been looking for a job for the past 2 days, but she hadn't been able to find anything. That day she had gotten up early again and washed her clothes. She felt that the reason that she'd been unsuccessful in finding work might be because of the way she was dressed. She didn't have much money, and her clothes were all quite old and shabby. To give a better impression to the recruiters, she had spent some of her remaining money on a new bag and new cosmetics. She had also borrowed some smart shoes from a friend. She hadn't gotten to bed until midnight the previous night, but felt she well prepared for the interview that day. After a 3-hour wait, she finally met the interviewer. She introduced herself politely, but the recruiter didn't ask her any questions or even look her in the eye. She simply said, "Sorry, you're not the right person for this job." The job that she'd applied for was with the large television news channel. When she first arrived, she had noticed that the other candidate was greeting all the existing reporters, correspondents, and managers as if they were old friends. She felt that she had never stood a chance. As she walked out of the building carrying her new bag, Sue felt that she was useless. Feeling desperate that she would never be able to find work, she just couldn't understand what she was doing wrong. Her newly bought bag was dragged along the ground, getting badly scuffed, but Sue didn't care. She didn't even notice. She walked the streets of New York in despair. She lost all track of time. Finally, just as she reached Lawrence Heights, her right leg gave way. The heel of her shoe had broken. Sue took off her shoes and threw them away. She sat on the steps in front of the building, not caring that her clothes would get dirty. Looking up at the bright moon, tears gradually started to roll down her cheeks. Not wanting people to see her crying, she buried her face between her knees. The tears wouldn't stop flowing. She looked so sad and pathetic that everyone who saw her was sympathetic and wondered why she was crying. She was just a young lady. She shouldn't have so much grief. For half an hour, Sue sat on the steps and wept. Her voice became hoarse, and her clothes were wet. Finally, she slowly stood up and looked at Lawrence Heights behind her. She couldn't help but think of Alex. She remembered how that rich young student had helped her. If he could see the mess she was in that day, would he feel even more sympathy for her? Or would he regret having helped her? Barefoot, she made her way to the main entrance of Lawrence Heights. She went to her apartment and was about to open the door when she was approached by a young man who said, "Miss Bradley, you're back at last. Please, follow me. Our boss wants to see you." Sue raised her head in confusion, but she agreed to go with the young man. She followed him to an office on the first floor. "Please go in," the young man said, pointing to the office. When she entered, she saw Alex sitting behind a desk, and her eyes widened in surprise. The young man said to him, "Mr. Ambrose, I've brought Miss Bradley, as you requested." Sue stood in front of Alex and Sam. She looked so disheveled and despaired that Alex was moved. "You're..." She recognized Alex, but still had no idea who he was. "Mr. Ambrose bought Lawrence Heights a few days ago. He's the new boss here," Sam explained to her. She was slightly surprised but not shocked. People bought $1 million properties in New York all the time. There was nothing so remarkable about someone buying Lawrence Heights. Sam, from today, Miss Bradley is going to be the new property manager at Lawrence Heights. Please help her settle in and teach her about her new role. She'll start in 2 days' time. Do you understand? Alex hadn't discussed his decision with Sam at all. He was just giving him an order. Yes, no problem, Sam said as he looked at Sue. Although he had doubts about her suitability, he didn't dare disobey Alex's instructions or question his decision. You can go now, Alex told him. Sam and the other staff member who had fetched Sue walked out of the office. Sue looked at Alex, feeling slightly dazed. She couldn't understand why he had just given her such a good job. What's wrong? He asked with a slight frown. He was a bit frustrated with her. Nothing, she replied as she lowered her head slightly and started to tidy her hair with her hands. In her opinion, she and Alex were worlds apart. She couldn't understand why he should care so much about her situation. He let the matter drop. If she didn't want to tell him, he wouldn't pry. Sit down, he said, preparing to talk about her new position with her. That afternoon, he had been alone in the office thinking about who should take the manager position that Philip Geller had vacated, and he thought of Sue. He knew that she was looking for a job and he wanted to help her. The job came with a decent salary that should satisfy her family. Sue walked over to the sofa. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain in her foot. Ouch, she cried as she stumbled and nearly fell. Alex quickly stepped out from behind his desk and helped her. He looked at her feet and took a deep breath when he saw that she wasn't wearing shoes. She lowered her head in shame, and Alex sighed deeply. He helped her to the sofa, where she sat down with relief. He quickly stood up and walked outside. Before long, he returned with a plastic bag, which he gave to Sue. Then he brought a bowl of water from the bathroom and sat down beside her. Sue saw that there was some ointment inside the bag, and she felt grateful. Now, give me your foot and I'll help you apply some ointment, he said to her. When he had seen her injured foot, he had felt some responsibility, so he had run out to buy some medicine without saying a word. During his poverty training, he had lived alone for 7 years. He had learned all about treating wounds and knew what to do. Sue slowly extended her foot toward him. When he looked at the wound, he was relieved to see that it was not serious. She just had a few cuts caused by treading on stones on the street. He held her foot in the water and washed it carefully. Sue tried not to let herself make a sound, but when the water touched the wound, she couldn't help crying out in pain. Sorry, I'll be finished soon and the wound will be clean, he said as he continued cleaning her foot. Hang on, he said as Sue tried to pull her foot away. He held it tightly and looked at her injuries. He told her, You have to bear the pain. If we don't disinfect it, it might get infected. It hurts too much. Let it go. Let it get infected, Sue cried. Although she was not from a wealthy family, she had been well taken care of since childhood. She had never suffered in her life and was not used to dealing with pain. Although she liked Alex, she scolded him. Let go, Alex. Why do you hate? But no matter what she said to him, Alex was unaffected. He continued to meticulously disinfect her foot and finally applied 4 Band-Aids to protect it. She pulled her foot back and tucked it beneath her in the corner of the sofa. Alex shook his head helplessly with a wry smile. He picked up the used tube of ointment and put it aside. After a few minutes, he returned carrying a large bag. Are you still angry with me? He asked as he sat down next to her. I'll tell you about your new position, he said. He had been happy to help her by tending to her injured foot, but he didn't feel sorry for her anymore. He told her about her new job. From Monday, you will be responsible for the rental business of Lawrence Heights. Your new title is property manager, and the initial salary is $3,000 a month. Once you've passed a probation period, it will increase. If you work hard and do well, you could be in $5,000 a month by the end of the year. Sue was still confused. She asked, "Why do you want me to work here? I'm a journalist. If you give me this management position, aren't you afraid that I'll ruin your company?" Alex said with a leisurely smile, "Oh, you underestimate me. If you think you can single-handedly bring down my company, that's something I would like to see. If you actually do manage to destroy my company, I'll give you another $100,000. He felt that he had seen enough of Sue to have a good understanding of her character, and he trusted her. "Well, even if you're not afraid that I'll destroy your company, I am. You'd better supervise me all the time. Otherwise, you might not have a company at all in a few weeks." She glared at Alex with some tears in her eyes. "Well, before you do bring down my company, at least look after your foot. I suggest that you find yourself some shoes," he said jokingly. "You," she snorted and got up to leave. "Slow down, don't hurt your foot again. I may not be there to patch you up." Alex grabbed her arm and stopped her. Sue frowned in surprise. "Put on some shoes, and I'll help you get back to your apartment." Alex picked up the plastic bag he'd brought with him and took out a pair of pink slippers. "I didn't know what you liked, so I bought you these. They'll have to do for now." He gave her the shoes. "They're hideous," she said. "I can't wear those." She looked at Alex with disgust. "There wasn't much choice. I'll buy you a better pair next time, but please put these on now," he pleaded. But she refused. He sighed and asked, "Are you really not going to wear them?" When Sue remained adamant, Alex gave up asking her politely. He grabbed her foot to put on one of the slippers. When his hand touched the skin on her foot, she flinched. They looked at each other and both laughed. He let go of her foot, and she slowly put on the slippers. Without another word, he helped her to her apartment. As Alex was about to leave, Sue said, "Why don't you sit down and have a drink?" He poured 2 glasses of water and sat on the sofa next to her. "Thank you so much for the job. I'll do my best," she said. She had finally calmed down. "I'm sure you will. I can see that you're a very capable person. My company needs people like you." Sue took a sip of water and then glanced at him and asked, "Do you have a girlfriend?" She quickly sipped from her glass again to cover her uneasiness. She had been wondering about that since she met him and decided to ask him directly. Alex hesitated for a moment. "Have I got a girlfriend?" he wondered. "I once had the best girlfriend in the world, but I lost her. I've no idea where she is now. Was I a good boyfriend? Did I deserve to be Debbie's boyfriend?" "No," he replied sadly. When she heard that Alex had no girlfriend, Sue's heart fluttered. "Is there some girl you like?" she asked carefully. "Yes," he replied, thinking about Debbie. When Sue heard that there was another girl that Alex liked, her heart sank. "Can you tell me what kind of girl she is?" she asked with some disappointment. "She is a kind and beautiful girl. Things have not gone smoothly between us, and we've had many misunderstandings. I thought I could protect her, but I realize now that I couldn't. I think I've even caused her more pain. If it wasn't for me, she wouldn't be in the situation that she's in now." Alex felt increasingly desolate. "Does she also go to Preston University?" "Yes." "Does she like you?" "I don't know if she likes me, dislikes me, or hates me." Alex's head was starting to ache. He was sure that Debbie hated him now because he had failed to protect her. "Can you tell me her name?" Sue was very interested in the girl who made Alex so emotional. "I need to go. My head hurts. You stay home and rest." The more she asked, the more Alex thought about Debbie and the more miserable he felt. He couldn't stand it any longer, and he covered his head and walked out. Sue sat on the sofa with her arms around her knees and looked at the band-aids on her feet. She remembered how gently Alex had handled the wound for her earlier, and a trace of tenderness came into her heart. She saw the pair of pink slippers lying on the ground and picked them up gently. Slowly, she closed her eyes and held one of the slippers against her face. As she thought about Alex and remembered that he already had a girl that he liked, her face wrinkled slightly in pain. Over the next 2 days, Sue's foot injury fully healed, and she put the pair of pink slippers carefully back in the box and into the closet. On the first day of her new job, she had just finished applying her makeup when she received a video call from Rose. "Auntie, you look nice. Have you found a new job?" she asked with a smile. She knew that her aunt had been trying to find work. "Yes, I've got a job. I'm the new property manager at Lawrence Heights. I have a temporary salary of $3,000 a month, which will increase when I'm confirmed in the post." She didn't hide anything from her niece, because she wanted Rose to pass on her news to her mother. She didn't want to have to bring it up herself. "Auntie, that's wonderful. $3,000 a month is fantastic. How did you get the job? Did my father help you?" Rose was both happy and surprised for her aunt. "No, actually it was Alex. He's the new owner of Lawrence Heights, and he hired me to be the rentals manager," Sue said. Rose's face froze. She had been trying to make herself forget all about Alex over the past few days. "Alex," Rose murmured, and thought to herself, "now he even owns Lawrence Heights. People used to laugh at him for being poor." Rose asked quietly, "Alex is so good to you. Is he in love with you?" "What makes you think he's in love with me?" Sue asked hopefully. She wished that Rose was right, but she knew that she wasn't. She said, "He already has a girl that he likes." "How do you know?" Rose asked. "I asked him, and he told me that he doesn't have a girlfriend, but that there's a girl who he loves." "No girlfriend?" Rose was puzzled. Susan definitely told her that Alex had a girlfriend called Debbie. Why did he tell Sue that he doesn't have a girlfriend? Did they split up, or is Alex just playing with her? "What else did he say?" Rose became a little anxious. "He said that the girl he liked was very beautiful and kind-hearted, and that there were many misunderstandings between them. He thought he could protect her, but then he found that he couldn't. He said that instead of protecting her, he ended up hurting her." Beautiful and kind? Misunderstandings? Couldn't protect but hurt her? She must hate him now. Rose repeated her aunt's words under her breath as her brain mulled over what she had heard. "He also said that this girl is from your school," Sue continued. "Our school?" Rose tried to remember if she had seen Alex with any particular girls, but she couldn't think of any. She had never really paid any close attention to Alex. As she was racking her brains, Sue suddenly asked her, "Sweetheart, are you the girl he likes?" "What?" Rose's heart fluttered. She thinks it's me. Can it really be? She thought. Auntie, what are you talking about? How can it be me? Why not? Think about it again, Sue replied assuredly. Over the past 2 days, while Sue had been recuperating in bed, she had wondered about the girl Alex liked and had thought of Rose. He thought back to the day she had seen them together in the villa and had been sure there was something between them. The more she thought about it, the more convinced she was that the girl Alex liked was Rose. Rose recalled the times she and Alex had been together and thought about what he told her aunt. She's very beautiful and kind-hearted, he had said. Rose knew she was beautiful, but would he describe her as kind? She thought about it, then remembered that last semester she had volunteered to teach in a remote mountain village in Montana. She had also volunteered to help in the earthquake-stricken areas of Washington state, and she regularly volunteered in the community. She thought she was very kind, but knew that she had never shown this side to Alex. If he really likes me, maybe he's secretly found out more about me, she mused. He had also said, there are many misunderstandings between us. That is certainly true. He thought he could protect this girl, but ended up hurting her and thought that she must hate him now, her aunt had said. Rose thought that he had always managed to resolve situations when he had been in danger. Then she remembered that day in the villa when he had cried. Maybe that's what he was referring to. He thought that I would hate him if he cried like that, but I didn't hate him at all, she thought. I only hated myself. Is it really me that he likes? All the information seemed to fit. Rose felt confused, but also started to feel hopeful. Rose, I have a question for you, and I want you to answer me truthfully. Before that trip to the villa, how did you feel about Alex? Sue asked her. Sue shook her head. She didn't want to tell her aunt the truth. She started to feel stressed. I don't know, she answered. Sometimes I thought I hated him, but then my heart started to flutter when I saw him. Does that mean anything? I don't know. I really don't know. She covered her face with her hands. I think it's you, Sue said confidently. Auntie, what are you saying? I asked Alex what the girl he liked felt for him, and his answer was exactly the same as yours. He said, I don't know whether she likes, dislikes, or hates me, Sue told her niece sadly. Rose, if Alex is in love with you, I hope that you take good care of him and cherish him. Not because of his money, but because he is indeed a man worthy of love. Right, I need to go to work now, she said and ended the call. Rose was stunned. She asked herself, is Alex really in love with me? Did he hide his true identity as a billionaire so that I wouldn't feel inferior? He must have pretended to be a loser so that I would feel more comfortable when he approached me. But I was so vicious to him before. With all his money and power, he had 100 ways to deal with me. Not only did he not attack me, but he actually kept saving me. Why? Rose had not been able to understand Alex's actions, but now she felt that everything could be explained. Because Alex likes me, he's put up with everything I've done. He's acted the way he has toward me because he's in love with me. There was no doubt left in Rose's heart that Alex loved her. Her heart lifted. I am being pursued by a billionaire, she thought, and he's completely in love with me. In the past, I wouldn't have known what to do about it, but from now on, I know that I can't let this opportunity pass me by. At that time, Alex was at the university. Although the school term had ended, he still went to the campus and walked by Ramsey Lake every day. There were a small number of students who had stayed at the university over the vacation, and they would often sit by the lake, which made him feel less lonely. Alex's cell phone started to ring. The screen showed it was a landline number that he didn't recognize. He frowned as he answered the call. The caller said, Hello, Mr. Ambrose. I'm calling from the live streaming service Trist with an official request to shoot a video clip. We're planning to hold a celebration of online celebrities from New York, and if possible, we'd like to shoot the video at your villa on the artificial island. We're willing to pay you $50,000, and if you agree to our request, you'll have our absolute guarantee that it'll be at no detriment to yourself or your property. If there's any damage, you will receive full compensation. As soon as he finished speaking, the microphone seemed to have been snatched by someone else. Alex was happy to agree. He said, Fine, I don't need any payment, just a reassurance that nothing will get broken. I'll meet you there in half an hour to give you the key. He hadn't used the villa much since he bought it. He felt that it would be good to let them use it to shoot videos. The man replied gratefully, Thank you so much, Mr. Ambrose. That's extremely generous. Alex sat by the lake for a while and then went to the Washington Heights. When he asked the security guard, he was told that they had already started filming outside the villa. He walked to his house and gave the tryst team the key. When he reached the artificial island, he saw that a camera van was parked in front of the villa. A few of the film crew were setting up the cameras, and several young girls were sitting on the wall, holding up small mirrors and touching up their makeup. He was about to walk to the island when he noticed an old man in a rowing boat out on the lake. He was trying to fish some garbage from the surface with a net. The man was sweating and his arms were shaking. Alex knew that the artificial lake was primarily for his villa, and he felt that this poor old man was therefore doing it for him. He saw that he had already cleared most of the lake. "I'm strong, why didn't I do that?" Alex thought. He called out to the man. He told him to stop working and to go home, and that he could clean the rest of the lake himself. He instructed the man that if anyone questioned him, he could tell them that the owner of this villa on the artificial lake had asked him to leave. No one would dare question that. The old man left feeling relieved. Alex put on the life jacket and climbed into the boat. As he rowed around the lake, he used the net to pull trash out of the water. Suddenly, from the artificial island, he heard, "Look at the garbage collector on the lake." A young girl in heavy makeup was gesturing excitedly at Alex to her friends. "He's only in his 20s. Why is he collecting garbage?" commented one of her companions. He's clearly someone with no ambition. He probably can't be bothered to look for a better job. Even a job washing dishes would be better than picking up garbage. I think he's either lazy or stupid," said another girl. "Doesn't he realize that no woman would ever want to marry someone with such a menial job? He probably can't even afford to buy food. What normal woman would want to marry someone who chooses to pick up garbage for a living?" Several girls sat on chairs discussing what Alex was doing. He was focused on collecting garbage and couldn't hear what they were saying. Finally, he finished cleaning the lake, emptied all the garbage into the trash can, and walked to the villa still wearing a straw hat. He really did look like a menial worker. The person in charge of the shooting looked at his watch and complained. "The owner of the villa should be here by now. He said to meet us here in half an hour. That was nearly an hour ago. What's he playing at?" Alex heard his complaint and walked toward him with a small smile. "Sorry, I'm late," he said. "You're here." The person in charge was startled when he saw Alex. He grinned and looked embarrassed. He said quickly, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything just now. We didn't mind waiting." Then the person in charge noticed Alex's appearance. He didn't look wealthy. With some doubt, he asked, "Are you really the owner?" Alex didn't answer, but he took out the key to the villa from his pocket. "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Ambrose. It's a pleasure to meet you," the man said. Then a voice from behind them said, "You idiot. You don't really believe what this guy said. He's just a from our school." A girl approached, sipping a cola. Alex glanced over and recognized her as Edith Jones from his class. Edith had been broadcasting live for more than 2 months and had gradually gained some popularity on Tryst. She was currently ranked among the top 100 online streamers, and she had also been invited to participate in the Tryst Night, the celebration of the top 100 online celebrities held at Alex's villa. She had stayed in New York since the end of term and lived in a rented apartment in Manhattan. "Edith, don't talk nonsense," Uncle Bo, the person in charge, said as he looked at her. "He's got the key to the villa. Of course he's the owner." "Hey, Uncle Bo, I'm telling you the truth. He's not the owner of this villa," Edith said adamantly. She looked at Alex and added softly, "Alex, tell Uncle Bo yourself. Is this house yours?" Alex thought to himself, "I really don't want Edith to know that I own the most expensive villa here." "No," he replied casually. "Oh, no?" On hearing this, Uncle Bo shoved Alex and patted his heart. "What's going on? Are you trying to give me a heart attack?" Edith glanced at Alex contemptuously. That month, she had already earned more than $3,000, which made her gradually start to look down on the other students. especially Alex, who she knew was poor. She said, "I told you I know him. He's a poor in my class. He's so poor that everyone knows who he is. He's made friends with a few other, but most people stay away from him. Alex, it's summer vacation and you haven't gone home. Why have you stayed in New York? And how can you do this kind of garbage picking up?" Edith asked as she glanced at the boat docked on the artificial lake. She thought, now I'm earning thousands of dollars and you're doing this kind of menial work? Garbage picking? Alex turned his head and realized that Edith had just seen him fishing for garbage on the lake. He nodded his head with a smile. Uncle Bo was completely relieved. "I understand. You're the community garbage picker. You should have explained who you were. It gave me a fright." He assumed that he had mistaken this cleaner for the owner of the villa, but he still wasn't satisfied. He took the keys from Alex's hand and asked, "How did you get the keys?" Alex quickly thought of a plausible explanation. "Well, the owner was in a hurry to get to work, so he gave me the key and asked me to bring it to you." "Well, this man's something else. I waited for him for over an hour, and he didn't even come himself." He stared into the distance and swore bitterly. "Okay, Edith, tell the others, and we'll go into the villa now to start shooting." Then Uncle Bo took the key and went to open the door. Edith was about to call the other internet celebrities when she glanced at Alex, who was standing on the side and accidentally dropped her empty cola bottle on the ground. It amused her to make Alex bend down to pick it up. Edith turned around and walked triumphantly over to the other celebrities who were waiting by the lake. Alex shook his head and picked up Edith's cola bottle from the ground. Then he realized the group of young people walk into his villa. He was about to leave when he realized that he was still wearing the old man's life jacket, and that the old man had now gone home. He took it off and put it beside the villa for the time being. No one would steal it. When he saw him tomorrow, he would return it to him. A few hours later, Alex returned to the villa. By this time, the people had loaded the cameras, props, clothes, and so on into the van and were ready to leave. When Alex saw Uncle Bo, he went over and asked him for the key. He told him that he would pass it on to the owner of the villa when he returned. Uncle Bo didn't even look him in the eye, but threw the key in his general direction and walked away. Alex sat on the side waiting for everyone to leave. When they had gone, he took the key and slowly walked to the door, opened it, and entered the villa. Although Uncle Bo had said that there was no damage in the villa, he wanted to check it for himself. He had a good look around and found a few cigarette butts, but no real damage. He was relieved. He rarely came to this villa, even though he knew that it was much better than his other villa. He sat in the living room and looked out through the French windows. In the distance, he could see ducks swimming among the water lilies that were quietly blooming on the lake. His hands rested gently on the armrests. It was rare for him to enjoy peaceful moments such as this. He was feeling so calm that he almost fell asleep. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of the French windows and he became alert. He was startled and almost fell off the chair. When he looked again, he realized that it was Edith. "What are you doing here?" Edith asked, peering through the window. She looked at him with confusion. She couldn't understand what he was doing in the villa. "Hannah, come with me," Edith called to a girl who was standing back. She looked at Alex doubtfully, and then she and Hannah walked away. Soon there was a knock on the front door. Alex opened the door to find Edith and Hannah standing outside. Edith stared at him in bewilderment. The girls had not left with everyone else. The house Edith rented was near Preston University, not far from there, and they were in no hurry to get back. After filming, she and Hannah decided to go for a walk together around the artificial island. Edith had a shock when she returned to the villa and saw Alex through the French windows. Hannah recognized him and whispered in Edith's ear, "Isn't this the man who was fishing rubbish out of the lake this morning?" Edith stared at Alex, shoved him out of the way, and pulled Hannah into the villa. "Why are you here?" she asked him while looking around inside. "Well, this is my villa," Alex mumbled. Finally, he thought of an excuse and said, "Yes, the owner of this building has been away for a long time. He asked me to clean it for him and said that I could stay here for a while, so—" He smiled awkwardly. Edith listened to what Alex said and was surprised. She said, "Now you're sleeping in a luxury villa, and I'll bet you're making a lot of money." She couldn't believe his luck, and she was a little envious of him at the moment. Not everyone gets the chance to sleep in a villa this luxurious. "Did you say that the owner of the villa is away?" she asked him tentatively. Alex didn't know why she was asking, so he nodded in agreement. Edith grinned and asked, "How about Hannah and I stay here with you today?" Alex was taken aback by her request. He answered, "I don't think that's a good idea." "Why not?" Edith demanded, wrinkling her nose. "The owner of the villa is away. As long as you don't tell him, he'll never know. Will you tell the owner?" "It's not that, it's just—" "If you're not going to tell him, there's no problem. So, that's settled. Hannah and I will stay here tonight." Then she turned to Hannah, smiled, and said, "Hannah, let's go upstairs and find a room." The two girls ran upstairs excitedly. "You—" Alex could only shake his head. After checking out each room, the two girls finally found one they liked. Lying on the soft bed, they felt very satisfied. They agreed that the lives of the super rich were extremely comfortable. Hannah said, "Edith, let's go and get something to eat. You're doing a live broadcast later. Can we go out for dinner together now?" Hannah's live broadcast was not yet as popular as Edith's, as she looked up to her friend. "I don't want to go out. I'm tired after the day's shooting, but I really fancy eating some Chinese takeaway," Edith replied. She didn't want to get up from her big, comfortable bed. "I fancy Chinese too, but the restaurant won't deliver here. We'll have to go there to get it," Hannah said in a dejected voice. "It's really annoying," Edith mumbled, and suddenly thought of something. "I know," she said. By this time, Alex had also decided to stay in the villa for the night. He noticed that he had missed a call from Grandma, and remembered that he had forgotten to take her a live chicken that day. He sent her a message telling her that he would bring her one immediately. As he was about to leave, he was stopped by Edith calling, "Alex." She walked up to him and said, "I want you to go to the Chinese takeaway and buy beef chow mein for me and sweet and sour chicken for Hannah. Go on, hurry up." He knew that the Chinese restaurant was on his way, so he agreed, and then he left the villa. "He's very obedient," chuckled Hannah. "I know, he's just a from our class. He had to work all the time just to cover his living expenses," Edith said and laughed with Hannah. Edith opened the live broadcast channel on Trist. She was planning to watch the broadcasts of other more experienced and successful streamers to learn some new tricks. To be successful in the world of live broadcasting, she knew that she had to keep herself up to date. Eating, broadcasting, walking, making new friends, playing games, watching sports. Why isn't there anything new? Edith threw her cell phone onto the bed, looking irritated. Her number of fans had not increased since it reached 360,000 last month. It seemed to be a bottleneck for her. Experienced broadcasters had told her that if she couldn't find a way to attract new fans, her fan base and therefore her income would not increase. Edith wasn't satisfied with that. She was desperate to find a new angle to attract new fans, and she just couldn't think of anything. Hannah looked at her friend and frowned. She understood her frustration. Then her eyes suddenly brightened, and she nodded excitedly to Edith. "Edith, I've come up with an idea that might help you," she said. Edith turned to her expectant. Alex took the live chicken to Grandma, and on his way back, bought the Chinese food for the girls. He also bought a portion of egg-fried rice for himself. When he entered the villa, he saw Edith and Hannah sitting in the living room deep in conversation. When they saw him, they welcomed him immediately. "Here's your food," he said, thinking they were happy to see him because they were hungry. "We'll eat that later," Edith replied, taking the carry-out bag from him. Then she said in surprise, "You bought food for yourself, too?" "It's my own food," he replied. "Don't worry, we won't eat yours. It looks really boring." Edith glanced at him and said, "Alex, will you take a video for me?" "A video?" he asked in surprise. "Yes, will you please?" Edith pleaded as she took his arm. "You should help Edith," Hannah advised him. "Can't you see that live broadcasting is also hard work, no less than cleaning?" Alex often looked at live broadcasts and video platforms, and he knew that a lot of the featured videos were filmed by the general public. He understood that Edith wanted a video of herself to post. "Okay, I can help you with that," he agreed. He couldn't see any reason not to help. "Great, thank you so much," Edith said. And then she continued setting up her live broadcast. Later, Edith pulled Alex out of the villa and asked him to sit on the steps outside. "Where's your life jacket from this morning?" she asked him. "It's here," he replied as he grabbed the life jacket. "Put it on, quickly," she ordered him. He did as she asked. She then picked up some dirt from the ground and rubbed it into his face and hair. "What are you doing?" Alex was disgusted by her rude behavior. Edith looked at him with satisfaction. She turned to Hannah and asked, "Well, what do you think?" Hannah smiled in response. She turned back to Alex and said, "I'll need your help a bit later. If you do everything I ask, I'll give you $200. Don't screw it up for me, okay?" Then she turned and walked into the villa with Hannah. A few minutes later, Edith started the live broadcast. This time, instead of sitting in front of a camera, Hannah was filming her on her cell phone. Requests started to appear on the screen. "Edith, are you singing live today? I want to request a song." "I'd like to request a dance. I want to watch you dance Little Apple." "Hey, something's different today. The background has changed." Edith still had plenty of seasoned fans. She announced, "Viewers, I'm doing a live broadcast from my relative's villa today, and I have a new anchor, Hannah from Trist, helping me shoot." Edith went on to describe her location as a villa belonging to her rich relatives, hoping that this would impress her viewers and raise her status in their eyes. She continued, "Let me show you around this luxurious villa. I think you'll be impressed." She then proceeded with a live-streamed video tour of the entire house. This resulted in a barrage of admiring messages, saying that she must be from a super rich family and that the villa was comparable to the White House. All of this satisfied her vanity greatly. "Viewers, I'm not singing and dancing live today. We have something more meaningful to do." She finally moved on to explain the main theme of her show. "My relatives told me that there's this homeless man who they've seen around their home. Apparently, he came to New York from Montana, and he only has the skills to do very menial work. He has nowhere to sleep and only earns enough for a tiny bit of food." She looked anxiously at the screen and was moved by the barrage of comments that she saw there. "But it's 2019. How can anyone still be homeless?" "It's too sad. My heart aches for him. There are still so many poor people in the world. The media want us to believe that everyone is prosperous now, but it's not true." Edith continued, "It's nearly 9 o'clock. My relative said that he usually comes around this time. Let's go and see if he's around." Then she looked directly at the camera and said, "By the way, when I heard about the plight of this poor man, like you, I felt very sorry for him. I cooked dinner for him tonight so that at least he can have one decent meal. Let's go and find him." She had already tipped Alex's egg-fried rice onto a plate. She grabbed this and walked out of the villa, holding her mobile phone in front of her. Alex saw Edith and Hannah come out of the house. They went in the opposite direction, which confused him. What are they doing? Edith was murmuring into her phone in a low voice. "I don't know if he'll come tonight. Let's go and have a look." She looked like she was eager to find the man. and her viewers were riveted and very moved. They desperately hoped that she would find the poor homeless man and give him the food that she had cooked. "It seems that he didn't come tonight," Edith said, walking around most of the villa. Alex was still sitting on the stone steps only 7 yards away, but Hannah didn't point the phone in his direction. Hearing that Edith couldn't find the poor man, the viewers were disappointed. They hated to think that he was starving in a ditch somewhere. Edith could sense that her viewers were starting to despair and felt that the time was right for the next part of her plan. "Wait a minute," she said suddenly. "I think I see him. Yes, he's there." She looked over to where Alex was sitting and rushed toward him. Hannah followed her, filming everything. The viewers exploded with joy, and a barrage of messages appeared on the screen. Alex saw Edith suddenly rushing toward him and frowned slightly. He asked himself, what is she doing? Edith pretended to be overjoyed to see him. She said to her audience, "It's really him, everyone." Hannah aimed the camera directly at them and captured everything. Watching Edith find the poor homeless man, the viewers were elated. Positive messages and gifts poured in for her. "She's found the poor man." "The life jacket he's wearing is his work clothes. He clearly has no other clothes to wear, so he has to wear work clothes all the time. You can see his hair is messy and his face is filthy. It looks like he's only in his 20s. Why is his life so bad? I want to cry. I'm the same age as him, but I have so much more than him. Can I give him some money?" Edith approached Alex and said, "Hello, my name's Edith, and I'm the owner here. May I sit next to you?" She was pretending to herself that she wasn't now speaking to Alex, but to the poor homeless man that she had just invented. She knew that the more respect she showed him, the more her viewers would like her. "What?" Alex asked in confusion. He wanted to ask her what she was doing, but as soon as he started to speak, she glared at him. She sat next to him and said to the camera, "Look, everyone, my relatives told me that he collects garbage nearby and sometimes cleans out the lake. The life jacket he wears is his work clothes. You can see how dirty his hair is, and there's some grime on his face. You can't tell from the video, but he smells terrible. It's probably months since he last washed. He often sleeps on these very steps." Alex suddenly understood what she was doing. She was pretending that he was a poor homeless man, and she was helping him to impress her viewers. He felt angry and glared at her. She looked him directly in the eye and glared back. Her meaning was obvious. She was not happy with him. "You haven't eaten yet, have you?" she asked him. To her viewers, she appeared to be a genuinely kind-hearted girl trying to help him. She took the rice in her hand and said, "I cooked this fried rice for you. If you're hungry, please eat it." Alex looked at the rice. It was obviously the egg-fried rice that he had bought himself earlier. Of course, she hadn't cooked it herself. He raised his eyebrows and fixed his eyes on her. Edith was angry. She gestured to Alex that he should eat the rice, but he didn't move. "He's too shy," she said to the camera and winked at Hannah. Hannah stood behind Alex so that the viewers could only see the back of his head. They could see Edith scoop up a spoonful of fried rice and move it toward Alex's mouth. She said gently, "Don't be afraid. I'll feed you." She was trying to demonstrate her kindness to the viewers. Alex refused to open his mouth. Edith frowned for a moment but quickly recovered her smile, determined not to let her viewers notice that anything was wrong. She used her wrist to secretly pry his mouth open and forced in a spoonful of rice. "Chew it," she ordered him quietly, and he began to chew. Using this method, she proceeded to feed him the whole dishful of fried rice. "He's eaten it all," she said sweetly to the camera. Seeing Hannah nodding to herself, Edith knew that there had been a good response from her viewers. She pulled out her purse, took out a wad of $20 notes, and handed them to Alex, saying, "Take this money. Find yourself a bed for the next few nights." Alex didn't take the money, so she forced it into his hand. She continued tenderly, "You haven't taken a bath in a long time, have you? Look, your hair is filthy. Why don't you come and take a bath in my villa?" With Hannah focusing the camera on her, she appeared to help him stand up and supported him as they walked toward the villa. "Viewers, I'm going to show him where he can now take a bath. After that, I'll buy him 2 sets of clean clothes. I'll pause the live broadcast for now, but when this is all done, I'll be back on air. If you like my live broadcast, make sure you come back and join us. That's all for now. Goodbye." Hannah filmed for another 10 seconds so that the viewers could see Edith helping Alex slowly walk up the steps. Then she turned off the live broadcast. "Edith, the live broadcast is off," she said as she walked quickly over to her friend. Hearing that the live broadcast was off, Edith shoved Alex away. She stood still and stared at him angrily. Hannah went to her side and started to say, "Edith?" Edith glared at Alex and complained angrily, "Hannah, look at this. He almost ruined my live broadcast. Everyone watched me trying to feed him decent food, and what did he do? He shut his mouth tightly and glared at me as if he wanted to kill me. I gave him money, but he refused to take it. He looked at me if I was trying to hurt him. He tried to make me look bad in front of my viewers when I was only trying to help him." "If you'd told me I'd be helping you cheat, I wouldn't have promised to help," Alex said coldly as he stared at Edith. "You didn't have to promise me. Who made you promise in the first place?" Edith was even angrier at his retort. She shook off Hannah, who was holding her back, and rushed up to him. "If you promise to lend me a hand, you'll help me a lot. Do you know that I have 360,000 fans on my live stream? If they find out I'm trying to trick them, do you know what the consequences will be like for me? My fans will run away. It'll be a huge loss. I'll lose at least hundreds of thousands of dollars. Will you compensate me for that loss?" she said. She was almost foaming at the mouth. Hannah couldn't restrain her. "I gave you my money. You don't even know how valuable you are to me." "Don't look down at my money. Give it back to me. Quick, give it back to me." She savagely snatched back the dollar bills that she had just given him. "And don't talk to me again," she added. "Let's go. Let's not pay attention to this low-class guy. He'll probably be a garbage collector one day," she said as she looked at Alex, spat on the ground, and was pulled into the villa by Hannah. Alex stood there feeling disgusted. He had been kind to her by lending her his villa and buying her food, but look at how she repaid him. She fretted and scratched his head, and then he hit the wall hard with his fist. "Oh, Alex, are all the women you meet crazy, or are you creating your problems?" he thought. He sat by himself for a while before he went back inside the villa. Naturally, he wouldn't be petty if the girls out, as he had already promised to let them stay with him. He went to take a bath, and then he went to his room. Meanwhile, Minnie and Hannah were watching the live stream. The impact was as good as Hannah had expected. It even exceeded their expectations. The number of Edith's fans had been growing rapidly over the last hour. She had already gained 20,000 new fans, and each minute she was getting dozens more. The number of private messages was also increasing, with fans asking the poor man's situation and expressing their gratitude toward her for the help she was giving him. More than 400 people had asked to be added to her WhatsApp list, and she had received more than 100 phone calls within the past hour. She, of course, only selected a few people. A couple of girls even cried and offered to give her money. Only a few hardcore fans had previously known her WhatsApp and cell phone number, but with so many people contacting her now, it showed that her live stream was successfully reaching a wider audience. Edith was overjoyed when she saw that it was almost time to start again. She turned on the live stream, and as soon as it started streaming, 80,000 fans flooded in. "Oh my, 80,000 people are watching the broadcast. The streamer Edith is rising so fast. It's only been an hour and she's added 20,000 fans. I'm a newcomer. My heart breaks when I see that poor man. How is that poor man? Yes, where is he? Many of her livestream fans jumped in to ask about the homeless man's situation. Fans, I've just bathed the poor man. I've bought him 2 sets of clean clothes, too. I've also rented a room for him. He should be sleeping now. Don't worry, he's safe now, Edith said. Her followers sighed with relief. My name is Edith. I'm the streamer. It's a beautiful job. Thank you so much. Good people will get good rewards. It's peace of mind. You deserve to have fans. I'll give you a reward. The netizens supported Edith and could give her gifts of money. 3 of her followers, who went by the screen names Moneygun, Treasure Map, and Goldtooth, were constantly helping Edith to influence fans to give gifts. They were really moved by her. She was such a loving streamer who spent money to help poor people. The fans felt like they were helping the poor by giving her gifts. Thank you, everyone. Okay, please don't send any more gifts. I just tried my best. It's nothing. Okay, my lovely fans, please don't give more gifts. Stop. Oh, why don't you listen to me today? If you don't stop sending me gifts, I'll end my broadcast. Edith was ordering her fans not to give her any more gifts. Of course, she wasn't being sincere, as she wanted her followers to spend money on her. She had been working as a live stream broadcaster for a long time, so she understood the psychology of the internet crowd. She knew that if she told them not to give her gifts, they would send her even more. Her live stream ended at midnight sharp. As soon as she turned off the camera, she jumped 3 feet high in the air with joy. She roughly estimated that if her fans had sent at least $20,000 that evening, she would be getting over $10,000 that day. It would be the second highest amount she had made in one day since she had started streaming. The most money she had ever made was at the beginning of her live streaming career, thanks to donations from Darren and someone else with the screen name Esteemed Admirer, who she assumed was Brad Summers. She couldn't help but think that if Brad had watched her live stream on this occasion, she would have topped 50,000. But Brad had never watched her live stream again. Sometimes she looked at his picture in a daze. Her biggest success this time wasn't the gifts, but the 30,000 to 40,000 new fans who would create a sustainable source for her. Edith, we should really thank the garbage collector tonight. If he hadn't pretended to be a poor man, we wouldn't have made this kind of impact, Anna said with a smile. He had given Edith such a good idea for the live stream. I should thank him? Edith sneered. You're right. He was acting like he was more than a mere garbage collector, and then he dared look at us with arrogance, Hannah said as she tried to flatter her friend. Okay, Hannah, let's go to bed. Tomorrow we'll go to Miami for the internet celebrity party. We shouldn't stay up too late, Edith said. Edith's phone rang, and she saw the name, Content Director for Tryst, on her phone's screen. She answered right away. Hello, Director. Edith, congratulations. Just after your live stream ended, the streaming platform detected that the number of fans in your account increased dramatically, and the number of rewards was more than 10 times your usual number. I've reported this to the big boss, who watched your stream's playback and thought it was very innovative. It could even lead to a new trend over the next few months. The big boss decided to upgrade your account level and adjust the share ratio from 55 to 70% for you and 30% for the platform, said the director. Thank you. I will continue to work hard, she said with excitement. The popularity of your new live content on the platform is very good. Although the total amount can't compare with other streamers, you have the highest growth rate. The big boss also wants to promote your brand new live stream, so that tomorrow's streaming party will be more explosive. When you come tomorrow, he wants you to bring this pitiful man. Can you bring him? Asked the director. I should bring him with me tomorrow? She was a bit tongue-tied. Will it be difficult? Or did you pay that poor man to be on your show? Just tell me the truth. Actually, it doesn't matter. Just tell me what he's like. It'll be good for all of us. The director had been in the industry a long time, so he knew the routines and thoughts of the streamers. Yes, I did it. She had to admit it. Well, the director thought for a moment. You had a good idea. The streams are supposed to get the followers to give more gifts. As long as it makes a good impact, it's okay to do so. You can give him some money and ask him to come with you for another performance tomorrow. Director, I've nearly broken up with that person. I can ask him to come with me, but he probably won't. I don't think I can bring him, she said. Oh, well, the boss might not be happy about that. He might take back the new conditions or make changes. I can't predict what could happen, the director said. Okay, I'll find a way to bring him to the party. She understood that if the big boss got angry, her livestream career would be covered with the shadow. She had developed such good momentum, and she didn't want to ruin her career. I have to find a way to get Alex to come, she thought. Well, I'll look forward to Miss Edith's performance at the party tomorrow. I won't keep you any longer. He hung up the phone. The director had asked her to bring Alex to the party, but how could she convince him to go with her with the current state of their relationship? Edith, what are you going to do? You yelled at Alex so much tonight. There's no way he's going to go with you now. Hannah was also worried about her. Edith sat on the bed and thought about it. She whispered, I can't ask him. I wasn't nice to him. She punched her pillow, and then a trace of hope appeared in the corner of her eyes. She was a little stunned as she had thought of something.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.